Right on cue, she woke up from her nap, came over, she knew what I was doing, hopped up in the chair when I'm ready to put the phone. Hi everybody. Jade says hi. What did you do today? Oh, you went out on the balcony? Yeah, we have a cool breeze today, don't we? Yeah, it's nice. Okay. All right, you said hi. You said hi. Hi everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to my channel. My name is Sabrina and I am a mystic. So welcome to my Mystic Cauldron. I'm not going to change the name of my channel. That would be too problematic. I don't want to start over or change make any setbacks, which would happen. But this is a Mystic Cauldron of all the spiritual things I'm learning and had experienced and explored as a mystic and an occultist, and realizing that I am a shamanic counselor. So if you're new here, welcome. This is an 18+ channel. I need to make this disclaimer first. And that anything I talk about in the realm of psychology, finance, or legal matters is simply my sharing my own personal experiences, and whether or not it's going to relate to you or not, you're going to have to use your own discernment and possibly consult professionals in that area if that is what you choose to do. I have found psychology extremely helpful, and in watching a couple of psychologists here on YouTube, I've realized, or it's helped me actually remember some things that have happened in my childhood. So I am the child of a parent who was a narcissist. It was my mother. And as I've said, as a shamanic practitioner, as a medium, this is not about bashing my dead mother or my ex, who is also a narcissist, who has gone on to live his own life elsewhere. I've learned many terms, and I have been put on the path of meditation, thank goodness, by my father. There are silver linings. I've talked about this. We have to guard against being totally negative and becoming that victim like, the narcissists do. They suffer from a childhood trauma and they are stuck in childhood. But today I want to just talk about skin conditions that I had that I'm remembering now, that there was just no rhyme or reason for it. There was no real explanation. We couldn't figure out where it came from or how I got it. Now, I've been talking about narcissism being a spiritual illness first and foremost. We are energy. Everything is frequency. Everything is energy. We are a representation of a particular frequency, energy, pattern. The universe is energy. It is sound. And it can be expressed in a couple of other ways. When you're dealing with energies that are not really growing, they're not really changing, they are of a lower frequency. And this is how it relates to the narcissist. With my mother, it had to do with difficulties in actually being a parent. You're basically got a child that is trying to become a parent. Now, having me and having my daughter was a type of a joy for her, in the sense that she could try to relive her childhood vicariously through us. But it just wasn't easy for her, because she was always angry deep down inside, and that's what was fueling her. She was angry about having to get up and do a lot of things on her own as a parent, not having the money to pay someone to do things for her. And so there was just a lot going on from the time that I can recall, probably about the age of 5 until I was about 10 or 11. And I've already talked about how I was always pushed to be doing certain things and, you know, do very well at them. And image was very important to my mother. Now that's worked in my favor if you use it in a healthy way. But these people are not individuals that have a healthy perception of how things can be done. Everything is riddled with anxiety. And so when it comes to being a parent, it's difficult. Now, I don't know where my dad was on this particular day, but I'm remembering when I was young, I'd say about 10 or 11, I all of a sudden got this strange skin condition. We don't know how in the world I got it. And she was a little bit concerned and frustrated. She didn't like it when we got sick. But she did have to take me to the doctor. And I got some attention from her and some attention from the doctor. Nurturing, okay? This is a covert narcissist. My mom was unable to be affectionate. She didn't really like to be nurturing unless it had to do with something that was going to be related to my image, what I was doing or what I was wearing. And I think probably after 10 or 11 years, I was already starting to have some psychotic episodes. And I was having hallucinations, and I was becoming riddled with anxieties. Because as an empath, you're picking up on the people around you. You're trying to figure out who are going to be your role models. So, as I've said, your antenna is up and your radar is on. And this is your role model. You don't know that they're toxic. You don't know they're riddled with anxieties. They have a black hole inside of them. They're suffering from depression. And even though I've heard her say it, and yes, she was on pharmaceutical medications, we finally got medicine and she had to actually apply it to treat me. So she had to touch me. Now there were times when she would shampoo my hair, and of course when I was younger she would bathe me, but it was just a mechanical thing that had to be done. There was no hugs before or after. I would be wrapped in a towel and I would be dried off, and that's it. It was all very mechanical. So as my mother had to treat me, she taught me how to put the ointment on myself. These strange spots, it was determined was ringworm, and we couldn't figure out how in the world I got it. Now, it was also, as I remember, it was on my legs and my arms, and I think my back. So she would have to come in and finish treating me on my back. Believe it or not, that was the only sense of nurturing and that aspect of mothering that I was able to get. Part of that could have been what helped me heal, but it took a while, probably a month, for that to go away. There was no knowledge about skin conditions erupting as a result of anxieties or living with people that are not practicing healthy lifestyles. My mother was an alcoholic. Now, I don't know when she finally decided to stop drinking. It might have been around the time that I was 10 or 11, maybe 12. That doesn't change who they are, how they think, and how they feel. Our energy is in our aura. This is a spiritual illness. And either you are vibrating at a somewhat higher frequency or you're vibrating at a lower frequency. And these people really only care about the material world. And this is what makes them spiritually ill, and this is what makes them vibrating at a low frequency. In my mother's case, as a covert narcissist, she had no spiritual practice. She didn't want it. She didn't want to practice it. So anyway, that finally got healed, and then lo and behold, maybe 9 months later, I get another mysterious skin condition, some kind of a weird rash. Now this time, the doctor doesn't have any idea what's going on. There was a name for it called rosacea something or other. A different kind of a rosacea than just people that get, the redness in their face. Some type of, I think it was like pityriasis rosea is what it was called. And we don't know how I got it. They just chalked it up to me maybe starting to enter puberty. But after listening to the psychologist Danish on YouTube here, I'm having more memories. Thank you, Ganesha, for helping to heal my hippocampus. And more memories are coming as I'm being led to learn these terms and watch a couple of psychologists who are also spiritual. And they talk about this. There are spiritual entities that are attracted to whether you are vibrating at a higher frequency or vibrating at a lower frequency. And they do have negative entities attached to them. And I don't know what they look like, and I don't know who they are. That's for another story. I'll tell you what I saw on one particular day under our house related to a sewage issue that we were having. So we're talking about people that are sort of dying because they're not growing, but it's very, 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 very slow. And there's multiple illnesses usually with these people. And along with being a perennial victim, they have genuine things that they need to complain about because they've got one type of an illness or another at all different kinds of times. But they will tell you not to complain. So now I've got this pityriasis rosea, whatever that is, and I'm thinking, my God, what is happening to me? Why is this happening? And now, of course, with everything I've been through recently and my awareness, I'm realizing at my mature age, we have an energy around us. If you're rubbing elbows, so to speak, with someone who's peaceful and generous and grateful, and they're not afraid to be those things. They're not riddled with anxieties. They're not riddled with depression that they don't really address, and go inward or examine in any way, shape, or form inside themselves if they learn how to do it. And you're going to pick up some of the negative energies and even a negative entity that they've got. And so this can make you ill, not only emotionally, but it can also come out in the form of a skin condition. So it's not always because whether or not I got ringworm from a neighborhood kid or someone at school, we don't know. There was no one that I can recall that I knew had ringworm in the neighborhood or at school. But the pityriasis rosea, that was a mystery. So one skin condition was healed and then another one came. And I finally got so frustrated with it, I used my own willpower to say, I don't want these types of skin conditions anymore. So your will is important. That's one silver lining. And God does watch over you. There is a silver lining. There is God's divine protection for the empath. So I began to be curious about skin conditions. Now I have another story that's not related to a mysterious skin condition, but an example of what can happen when you have a narcissist parent who really doesn't understand how they're behaving until someone is really suffering as a result of their action. Another thing that happened to me in my skin, and that was I was going to go with a friend and their family on an outing, at the beach in Galveston. A day at the beach. I was so excited. I had everything except suntan lotion. And my friend or her mother had told my friend, you know, make sure you have suntan lotion. Or I asked about it, I can't remember. And my mom said, well, we're out. We don't have any. And I said, well, I don't really think I should be going to the beach all day long and not have suntan lotion. And I'm pretty sure my acquaintance friend at the time had told me, be sure to bring suntan lotion. And she said, well, you know, I'd have to go to the store and I'd have to get it. And this is the laziness, guys. There was no real, I can't say that there wasn't an awareness of getting sun damage or sunburn because my mom was as white as a sheet. And she knew how easily she could get burned if she was out in the sun for any length of time. Now, I wasn't as fair as her, but I was pretty darn fair. She said, well, I said, well, can't we just stop at the store on the way? She said, well, I don't want to be late, right? So she never really wanted to get out and do anything extra in her life. And this was just another thing that she was going to have to do. So we're at the beach and it's getting hot and I'm, you know, describing my feeling the sun on my back as we're out there by the water or in the water and the sun is reflecting off the water. And I mentioned to my friend, could you share your suntan lotion? Do you have a little suntan lotion you can put on me? I'm getting really hot. I'm afraid I'm going to get burned. And she said, yeah, I know. Didn't you bring any suntan lotion? I said, no, we were out. And Mom didn't stop at the store to get any. I was embarrassed, guys. I really was. I couldn't understand why Mom couldn't just go to the store before she dropped me off. I felt like she was kind of happy to have, you know, just my sister with her for the day. My dad was never really that much involved as a parent. He was an empath. He was not a narcissist, but he was very passive. And he had basically lived with his mother up until the day that he got married, so there's that. So, you know, the time is going by, and I ask again, don't you have something? I think my friend said, well, you know, maybe we have butter. And the woman was not nice. And she said, well, your mom should have known to bring suntan lotion. You know, I told my daughter to tell you. Whatever it was there was some, to me it was just cruel to let me suffer. I said I was getting really hot. I was starting to get red. And she basically said, well, your mother should have, you know, put some suntan lotion in your bag. This is cruel to make a child suffer because the parent didn't want to bother getting suntan lotion. She could have asked my mom to reimburse her later, but she didn't. And I remember this mother was very cold about it. I said, well, do you have some butter? She said, no, that'll be worse. That'll just cook you. So guys, it ended up later, wherever we were, the sun was down and I was sunburnt. And I was trying to resist the pain with all my might. And we got in the car and I had on a shirt or something. And my mom would just, you know, start talking because of her insecurities. Oh, thank you so much. I hope it went well. And she said, well, your daughter is sunburnt. And she's like, what? Yeah, your daughter is sunburnt because you didn't give her any suntan lotion. And she said, well, we didn't have any at the house. I didn't have time to stop at the store. So forth and so on. You didn't have any suntan lotion you could have put on my daughter? And I said, no, Mom, they didn't. So the conversation shifted to me being burnt. And I kept telling her, I'm so hot, Mom. I'm really burned. I'm really burned. I'm so hot. I was really starting to just let it go and cry. So finally we get home and she realizes, man, oh man, I am injured. And she takes me to the doctor. I don't remember what we did that evening to try to get me through the night. I was, shivering like I was in shock. And the doctor said I had 1st and 3rd degree burns. So again, I'm learning about skin, and every single day, 3 times a day at least, my mom had a special lotion, was white, and she'd put it on and was instantly relieved. And she would keep track of when she had to treat me. And I'd be in the living room with no shirt on. And after several days, it started to subside. And she was treating me 3 or 4 times a day at least. And I finally asked her, what is that? She said, I don't know. And she read it. It said lactic acid and something else. I remember that. So again, there's a silver lining. I became very, very conscious of the skin we're in and how to treat it. It's related to my astrology. And I remember lactic acid to this day. I know what it is. I know how it helps. So it does work out eventually. She did call the mom and kind of chew her out for making me suffer for her mistake. So there was a, situation, a series of unfortunate events. Thank God it wasn't worse. I did have a lot of blisters and a lot of, tan marks for quite a few years. But from then on, I was very conscious about putting on suntan lotion. And then as I grew up, I went to beauty school. I'm still very conscious of it. And, as an empath, keep in mind that there's always a blessing to whatever it is that you've had to suffer. And when it comes to the emotions and having to live with these people, getting away from them can take some time. But you can put on certain type of jewelry to help protect you from negativity. You can learn about meditation and positive affirmations. Learn how to purge yourself of negativity. Take a spiritual bath every day. And then when the time comes that you can really get away from them, I'm assuming that you're at least 18 years old if you're watching this, you have to limit the amount of time you spend with them. Now, obviously, there's more to it than that. It is a constant, like being in a boat in turbulent waters that you have to just try to figure out how to navigate and appease these people. That's all you can do. But that's my story for today, and I'm going to keep this video short, and I'll maybe make another one later. It's very gloomy out, but it's not quite as hot and humid. We've got a little bit of a breeze. And enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are. Stay cool. Find some ways to release your anxiety and get away from a toxic situation for a little bit. Take care of yourself. Get smart, get strong. As an empath, you need to get strong, and you need to remember that you are divinely protected and you are blessed, and it is going to work out in your favor. So, take care. Talk to you soon.